Hey everybody, welcome back again. I hope I don't sound too nasally, it's pretty cold here. That's a big pet peeve is when people make tutorials and stuff and they just blow snot and spit on the microphone constantly, and I'm trying to make quality content here. So with that said, let's jump into enemies. Go into your RPG kit and it's going to be in blueprints and enemies. This is a waypoint that your enemy will walk back and forth between, and for your enemy to understand where to go, it needs a nav mesh. So on the top left, look up nav mesh. Drag that onto your level, and let's make this 55 by 55 by 15. That is too big, actually, but that's fine. So now, in the base enemy BP, let's see if I can remember where all this is at. Character movement, update patrol point. And this function right here on your base enemy, in the construction script, it's checking for the blueprint that we just put onto the level, the enemy patrol point. And then it's going to see if it's less than if the distance is less than itself or the patrol point, and if it's true, then it's going to follow to the patrol point reference. So let's see it in action. That's kinda neat how you could just see him walking around in the background. Patrolling the area. So, humanoid. There is a lot to cover here, and I really don't want this to drag on for 30 minutes. So in the base enemy, let's go over the variables. That would probably be the quickest way to do this. The behavior mode is this switch right over here. This is what's switching the AI through different behavior modes. The first one is roam 1. It is moving the pawn within 5 units of the patrol point and waiting. Min weight, max weight. If you want him to hang around longer, put the minimum weight up to 10 and the max weight to 30. And then he won't move around so fast, or she, or whatever you decide to make your character as. There is so much to cover here, I don't know where to go. This is calling the behavior tree. Oops. Yep. This is roam 2. This is roaming to the next area. And Okay, so when it's going one direction, it's calling this function. When it's going another direction, it's calling this function. And if it is chasing the player through the pawn sensing component, which will be right here, this is what's going to call chase player and attack traces and chase speed, and this is what's creating your widget for the enemy whenever it's attacking the player. Let's go through some more of these. This is the roam radius. I believe this is how far it will chase you. Nope, this is how far it will chase you. Disengage range. Walk speed is the minimum walk speed. Chase speed is how fast it can run. The massive, how fast it will move towards the player. Passive is a bool. Click yes or no. This will make the enemy passive. If it's passive, it will not use the pawn sensing component. You have to hit it to get aggro. This is the enemy UI. This is what's creating the enemy UI. This is the health of the enemy which you've created. This is the enemy picture variable. For instance, for the humanoid enemy, I want the picture to be this guy. So it can all be set on the right hand side. This is a child blueprint of the base enemy, humanoid enemy. You got your player ref, which is pretty standard in a blueprint. Your attack radius, your attack range, which can be set up here. Attack radius, attack range. You've got attack damage, which can also be set right here. If you don't want it to be the same every time, use a random float in range, minus or plus 2. You can change that around to your liking. This is a bool telling it if it's attacking a player. This is a reference to the montage. So, in the event graph, when it's playing the montage right here, it's looking for attack trace. The anim notify, montage notify, I'm sorry, and it's looking for attack trace, and that's what triggers off the attack. So if you use a different animation for this, you need to go into your anim notifies, where is animations, enemy animations, humanoid. So on the humanoid attack, there is an anim notify right here called attack trace. If you make a new animation and want to use it with this AI, you have to make another anim notify with the exact name, right about where they'd hit, and that's what's going to call this whole function right here. Attack radius. So when it's chasing a player, tracking, where's chase player? I believe this is chase player. That's where we were at. So it's stopping movement, setting the walk speed to 0 when it's attacking, and when it's done attacking, it's setting the walk speed back to 450. You could promote this to a variable if you want. That is a variable. That needs to be cleaned up. That's not correct. When the pawn sees something, it's checking to see if it's dead. If it's not dead, then it's going to check to see if it's passive. If it is not passive, then it's going to do once and start the whole routine here. It's going to get the actor's locations at the start point, track the player, pull up the enemy list widget, set the chase speed. Why is it? Oh, chase speed is different than walk speed. Chase speed is 450. So chase speed is when it's running after the character. Walk speed is when it's just walking around. Creating the widget, and my Facebook page is blowing up. So I'm going to close that off right quick so you guys don't have to keep hearing pings. It's adding a child to the enemy list HUD reference and attacking the player and setting the behavior mode to chase player. Then calling the behavior tree and disengage. With disengage, it's checking for the disengage range. If it's greater than or equal than 2,500 units, then it's going to set attacking player to off, go back to roam 1, and move the AI back to the start point. It's going to set the max walk speed, its patrol speed, and also remove the enemy list widget. And then call a reset function, which is right back here. Reset goes to a sequence, and then it resets the damaged do once. Damaged is if a enemy is passive, then damaging it will cause it to go through the same routine as to if it's not passive and it sees something, then it goes through the whole thing again. So, on event any damaged, right here, I can't remember if we've already gone through this or not. When you attack it, it's checking to see if the health is less than or equal to 0. If it is, then it's going to set the variable to dead, the bool to dead, and it should play an montage. Montage stop. Dead. Oh, I think that's covered in the animation blueprint, which is in a different folder. I hope I'm not rambling too much. I hope this is actually informative. And so when you hit something and it's not dead, it's playing a sound. This sound is stored in the player reference on the event graph. This is something, it's a system that's being built on, and I'm trying to do it so that you can set all your sounds right here. Player attack sound, enemy attack sound, save sound. Actually, I think I was having trouble with that sound, and that needs to be removed. Damaged? Nope. Nope, we're using that. For some reason I thought that was the death sound. And then we are getting the player reference. We are adding experience. the amount of experience the player gets for killing this mob. We're stopping all movement immediately. It's checking to see if the mesh is currently playing any montage, and it's stopping it if it is. It's setting the walk speed to 0, setting attack player defaults, and setting the dead behavior mode. Then it is removing the enemy widget right here. It's refreshing our player's experience bar and removing the collision so it doesn't act like a wall, a dead wall. And we are going to, I'm currently working on a system that allows enemy loot. I just want this pushed out into Fab, and I want to take a break. This has been quite the project, as you guys can see. I think I'm going on 4 hours worth of tutorials, and I'm only about halfway done. So, patrol point, construction script. Oh, the construction script is checking for patrol points. It is getting a copy of them and setting the variable. Then for each loop, it's checking where everything is at. We already went through this. Back to the event graph. So, what else? What else on the BP player? Is it kill check? No. This is part of the quest system. Weapon hit check. This is where your character will be creating damage. You can see looks like I've already added that as a variable. It's grabbing your weapon reference, the weapon in range, and it's getting your current actor location, and it is the radius. If you want a further radius for a different weapon, this should be promoted to a variable, so it can be set on items. We can go through that in a more in-depth tutorial. And it is creating damage. I believe base damage is 25. And, yep, variable down on the bottom left. That should be, it should be in player variables. Player stats. I might just throw it in miscellaneous. Alright, enough rambling about that one. I hope it wasn't too convoluted. And for the life of me, I can't remember what all is covered in the animation blueprints for these, because of course we're gonna need to update these soon. So, event graph. So dead is handled in the state machine. Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard. We can cover that in a 20-minute tutorial or so. So we're going to do this in a different tutorial. I'm just trying to get through everything right now. Blend space humanoid. We're going to need to make new animation blueprints for the animal. Actually, most of the footwork is done. We might be able to just swap out animations. Just go into the state machine, dead, and you should be able to just drag and drop it. Yeah, that should be super easy. Okay, enough rambling on that. I was kind of concerned about that. So, next up is going to be enemy spawners. Blueprints, enemies and spawner. This is your enemy spawner. I'm gonna go ahead and put it right out here. So once it's on your level, and you have it highlighted, this is your spawn zone. It needs to be smaller than your shut-off zone. And this one we're not going to touch. Shut-off zone location. Enemy amount is how many enemies you have. And spawn delay is how fast they spawn. Distance from player is how it's checking to see when it should start to spawn. And enemies to spawn, you can add a variable, and you can't see it very well. And do it just like that. So add an animal enemy. Enemy type to check. Animal enemy. And let's, for the sake of this tutorial, spawn zone size to 3,500 by 3,500 by 155. Good enough. Shut-off zone size needs to be bigger than that, so 3,800 by 3,800 by 200. That should be good. Let's move it up a little bit. Is that big enough? Yeah. And hit play. What's going on? What did I do wrong? Oh, there it is. Now it's spawning enemies. It's definitely something. Oh, I think I only... yeah, 3 enemies. Animal enemies. Enemy type to check. Let's move this down to 0. Let's see what happens. Just for reference. Okay. It's at the crafting table. There it goes. Crafted. It spawned 3 enemies instantly. Aha. Really? That's a glitch that needs to be fixed on the template. Okay. Yeah, so it's all working. That's the gist of everything, and let's see if we can go over some of this within 30 minutes. On begin overlap, it's casting to the player and setting active, the variable. On end overlap, it's other way around actually. On begin overlap, it's setting active off, and on end overlap, it's setting it back to active. Doesn't seem right, but it's just how it worked out. Begin play, it is seeing if the distance to the player is less than distance from player spawn, and checking to see that it's active with an AND bool, and if it is, then it is spawning. It's checking for the correct enemy amount, for one, and if it's not the correct enemy amount, if it's greater than or equal to, it's going to call a spawn check function, which is the same as the event begin play. If it is not true, the beginning question, then it's going to start spawning enemies and counting the enemies, and then setting them to the ground with a -90 on the Z. And the delay here is your spawn delay. So, seems like there should be more than that. These are the variables that we saw. This is setting the variables for the spawn zone size and shut-off zone size and shut-off zone location. And checking for the enemy type. I guess that's everything. Alright. I'm really sorry if that was a lot to cover. It should probably be broken up into smaller tutorials. We can do that later on, but for the sake of people needing to know what goes where, that should cover most of it. Oh. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the spawner. And I wanted to show you guys one last thing. Blueprints, enemies, animal. When you pull an animal onto the level, it works with humans too. You can set if it's passive. Right here. Once that's checked, move it just a little bit, save everything, and now that enemy will not attack you. It's kind of like a prop. It'll attack you if you attack it, but it's not going to go out of the way to attack you. Minding its own business. So that's about everything that I can cover on enemies within 30 minutes. I hope it wasn't too mind-numbing, and I do believe that's going to be about it for tonight. I'm going to write these up and start again on documentation tomorrow. I hope you guys' projects are coming along great, and I can't wait to see them. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.